Hi, thank you for connecting with me. So I've just come checking how everyone's going. Today I want to talk about the timeline different, like timeline change. It's going on for a few weeks now, and you can feel the shift, like like everything's different compared to what happened 2 months ago. Look around, what's happening surrounding us. And compared to now, you see, wow, it's a lot of differences, And I think we are still in this middle of this transition, but actually there's also already some timeline change. Well, I think this is like a reshuffling and restructuring, and some people, a lot of people, they are now working, doing the same thing as they used to be, and I think there's a time, like for people to stay at home and to think about what's next, and some people probably still very keen to go back to work. But I know it's hard, but there's always a divine planning, and we just have to take this time and waiting for everything to come more clear. By the end of this year, you will still expecting lots of changes, and you can also see the politics, the climate change is different. But if you're paying attention to what's happening on the news, there's still lots of different perspectives. Of course, we're always feeding to the perspective that whoever wants us to see, but you more or less can feel there's something is dynamics is changing now. In the future, you're expecting the government will want to move all this, the industry back to their own country, and then more like into self-sustaining themselves, something like that. So maybe that's a good thing, for people to be not rely on certain country or certain economy system. Yeah, so I think they will be expecting there will be change on the first. I think the first impact is the financial situation. It will have a big impact. But I think let's take this opportunity, really looking at what do we really need. Because when all this happens, you certainly feel like what's most important in our life, because what you think is important suddenly is not there. Because last week I was talking a bit about the changes in the religion aspect. So if you're looking at what's happening on the religion side, all the churches now, it doesn't matter what religion group, basically there's no physical gathering is happening. So before, what's the symbolic of physical gathering in the church? For the people to gather in the church is worship, right? So because you're gathering and you generate this energy of worship, and then it's kind of people easy to get the influence in that atmosphere, and it's more like strengthening your faith to what you believe in. This pandemic is happening, and you'll find the religion activity, the dynamics is different now. It's changed. It's different like before. So I think that's a very interesting question. Why people need to go to church or to temple? That because people believe there is a higher power that can give them blessing, protection. Whatever is happening, people actually need to think there must be much higher power than the church, whatever they believe, God or whatever, the deity within the church, the temple. There's something higher. So the believers not able to come in physical. Why? And because we have some energy work with the source. If you haven't you haven't checked out the energy update, you can look out my last video on YouTube channel. I was talking about some events are actually orchestrated by the source because there's a purpose. There's a purpose for all this to happen. Sort of continues last week's topic from talking about Jesus, because I think this week some religion like Orthodox, they're still celebrating Easter. And then because we know Jesus was being used from that moment, he was hanging on the cross. That was the moment he's being used, because when we did I don't know when, if the recording will actually be released, but I can sort of give everyone an update. In that energy work, there are a few of us, we connect to the source, and then as a source, we heard the source, what the source saying from the source perspective. In that time, the source create the earth, create humanity. But back to like 2,000 years ago, the humanity didn't really understand about their own, the godly thing, that real essence, like the connection with the source. So the source decided to incarnate as a human being. So, and this human being is Jesus, and that's why he said he's a son of the God. I think he had some teachings and he performed some like miracles. But then because the people at that time, people may be jealous, or people might be into greedy, feel threatened, and they have with their own whatever, they decide to like betrayal. It's reflecting as a human being, because who is actually put up the Jesus on the cross? It's not really certain people, but what's operating behind these people, right? So you can say that's the dark forces, or the shadow. You can say the shadow is also created by the source, but then because source was actually say, he decided to do this. Maybe the timing was too early, but still needs some work to be done. And he knows the shadow will betray him and still use him, up to like for 2,000 years. The source just did what the source can do at that time. Humanity has been in this history into this control, like a hierarchy structure, through all this suffering, and then people wanting to have savior, from external, liberate their soul or something. So in this past 2,000 years, there are so many belief systems created. Over all this generation is actually embedded in so many people's belief system, without knowing that the true God particle, or the connection with source, is within us. And I think now this is the time for the source also know enough is enough, So during the work, we also getting this information that the source actually going to upgrade a few different things. So all this energy work of the planetary work is actually work layer by layer. So it will be starting from upgrading the matrix or the dark forces, because they actually need to educate. Okay, through Mima, one of the members' voice, we actually get to know how they think. The whatever you call the dark forces of the program, or the parasitic entities, or they can be, because they don't have souls. Because when the source creation into this play, so the source creating like the group with souls and another group without souls. The soul is observing how these two groups they interact to each other. I don't know really how to call this. You can call it the being without souls. They have no emotions. They have no really feelings. So whatever they're doing, they think is for fun, you know. They don't have. And then when they see the beings which have souls, they can generate so many different emotions. And for them, they feel like, wow, it's so amazing. How come these people, these beings with souls, they can have emotions? There are some experiments they're doing because, they see what can I get out of this, generate out of these beings that have emotions. So there are lots of experiments, or with lots of whatever been happening in the history. I think no one really shared this, but you know, that's actually the secret. Why all these dark forces doing all this to humanity? Because they don't have souls. They want to find what is soul. So they'll try to clone, they try to imitate. And that's why they do experiment to the humanity. In the past, why they have some ceremony, you know, they drink blood, you know, with some, they try to find if the soul is in the blood. And that's why you can see some rituals in the past, you know, some entities, whatever, that all this dark magic or something they try to do with all these sort of things. And it's actually this experiment that is actually the secret. What the dark forces trying to do is because they have no souls and they don't understand what is soul. They try to have what souls have. So the souls have what? Emotions. The emotion is the energy source for these beings because they don't have simply that. And that's the food for these parasitic entities. So what they're doing is they might try to extract, you know, and I mentioned that in before video, like the Monster Inc., the movie, you know, why the monster, they scare the kid, and she was so scared she create enormous energy. And this is actually implying, you know, some entity actually can consume this energy, and that's why humanity sort of being controlled, so they can be extracted a big range of different emotions, which is also energies as well. So that's why it's happening, like as we said, empath and some narcissistic personality, you know. Why these people, they always try to do this to the empath? Because the empath, they have soul, they have passion to people, and this is what the parasitic entities they don't have. And their characteristics is like you know, they're narcissistic. That's why they like to take this out of people and apply to some relationships, you know, as well as one-on-one relationship. It can be a couple, a parents, children, a child relationship, or it can be a group. The scale can be big as you know, like a religion group. You know, because some of you might know my story, you know, I was involved with this cult, and it's the same thing. They just operate in the organization as a group of people, but they still operate in the same way. So, you know, we call it dark and light. The spiritual war has been happening for so long, but now it's changing. You know, it's back to the topic today. I want to talk about the timeline change, and because of all this, as a source, we are all part of a spark of source. So whatever the experience we have, actually we are sending back like the source is experience all this through us. So even we have all this pain, when the Jesus was on the cross, the source felt the pain, because the pain is in many different levels. It can be physical level, of course. It's so painful when you hang out on the cross, with the nails on your hands, on your feet. It's physical pain, but it's also emotional, because the betrayal, when you try to help people, when you try to educate people, but what's in return is jealousy, is betrayal, is all this, Of course, we are in this time, of course, like 2,000 years, but in the source perspective, it's just a blink of eye with all this happening, because there's really no time and no space, and all this is happening all at once. It's just that we slowing down so we can experience this as a timeline. So if you can try to observe the changes surrounding you, you will find the financial, of course, start changing, and the politics is also changing, and the religion. I just talked about that. A lot of the religious gathering now is literally stopped. Also, in the meantime, it's a lot of clearing, and that's why there are lots of souls, they are exiting at the moment, because of the vibration match. When the planetary vibration is toning up, then some people, they don't really able to stay here. They have to shift to somewhere, and then if they need to come back, they had to have a similar vibration match in order to incarnate. So next year you actually be expecting a lot of newborn babies. They were higher vibrations, and because we had lots of souls living this year, and they will come back next year with high vibration after the healing transformation on the soul's level. When we look at what's surrounding happening to us, we don't need to feel too much emotional up and down, because we just observe and witness what's happening, and we know there's always divine planning, whatever meant to happen that way. And of course, when we say then why there's still some we call dark agenda, we now they start talking about this vaccination, and of course they have been circulating for a while, like the agenda about the microchips technology into this vaccination. But I can reassure everyone it won't happen as it's planned, and which is still work in process, but I will tell you more detail why it's not happening as they planned. And because in the past we know because of the chemtrail, they already do something, already people already can inhale all this nano technology in our system. You don't really have to go through the vaccination. And with the, I want to say about the conspiracy theories, I have something to say about that, because of course they are trying to warn people. In their aspect, I think they have some contribution to it. But on the other side, I feel like it can be also creating some fear for people, because they will say, it looks like there's only darkness. There's like only controlled by the dark agenda. It sometimes make you feel like there's no hope. And there's something I feel a little bit off about that. I don't say, okay, when we're looking at anything, we have to be from the perspective of observing. Of course, they're all saying something, some truth in it. But then you always have to make the discernment of what makes you feel off. And this is my own perspective. You don't have to agree with me, but just be nice. Of course, they try to waken up people with all this conspiracy theory. They were talking about certain things. And maybe sometimes it can get people really confused, but what I'm trying to say is, okay, you can listen to whatever people are saying, but the thing is, you just have to connect to the soul essence within you. You don't be influenced by what people are saying. And what I can assure you is the source, the cosmos field, whoever is higher consciousness, they are working on this. They, whatever in the past, what we think it was, maybe it was an agenda of the dark forces, but now it's going to be irrelevant because we are in the process of transition, of change. So as I mentioned in my last video, the purpose, because when we say for the dark side, or for the entities, whatever, for them to exist, they need to have a purpose, right? And then, well, their purpose may can say they give you challenge, or they they really try to bring you down so you can go high, something like that. But in this latest energy work, the source already take their purpose back. So the new purpose, the final purpose, is to serve humanity, but not to control. Because in the past, we see they are given the purpose, but ended up using this opportunity to control those souls. And then, of course, as a humanity, a lot of souls, they are sleeping. They're in amnesia. People forgetting about the connection with the source, and that's why they're being controlled. They're not able to really see what's happening behind, and that's why they just give their power away, to the religion, the man-made God, or the God is created with agenda. So when people really realize the God, the whatever the source is within you, all you need to do is connect within you. Then people won't be going external, to worship a figure or an idol. That is, Jesus is actually playing a mirror for us to see who we are. But then, because of the created belief system imposing on us, and therefore it's already the original purpose is not there. So now is the time for people to awaken to your true essence and to know who you truly are. And there will be some different layer of energy work. I can just say, because it's massive and it's planetary, because we're dimensional being, multi-dimensional beings, and when it's working, it's not only working on, it's so many different layers on the energetic level. So it's still, I can really assure everyone, we are all on the good, we're moving on the good side. So whatever the transparency theory they're claiming, in the past, to a certain point, something might really happen as because they did some research, or they connect with all this, they got the information source. But all this is going to change, and the source still need to educate, the dark side, or whatever, the shadow, the thing, because they've been always the dark. And in this new transformation, the darkness is no longer as darkness. It will be moving on to different lights. The source will be give them some light, so they still need some knowledge, and they are kind of involving in that sense. We are in this process. It can be looks chaotic, but we are moving to the good direction. So just keep the faith. Take this time to do purging, clearing, because it's easier for you to move, to upgrade yourself in the meantime with this new planetary vibration. And that's why on the website, in our website we offer there'll be more and more, but whatever we're offering now on the website is already helping everyone to anchor, whoever, helping everyone to anchor your vibration to, you can say, super conscious or your higher self, because this is our root. So we have this root of energy like a source. And then when you have this strong connection with your higher self, so whenever you experience in this reality, doesn't matter what challenges you're facing, then you don't feel like you don't lose your ground, because you have this connection. So it's important to establish your connection with your higher self, which is connect to the source, of course. So I really encourage, if you feel like tumbling, if you feel like getting lost or something, I really encourage you to check out, our the website, which helping you to anchor your root, which is your higher self, which is your true essence. And because our mind is still controlled by, we call matrix, ego and everything. And there's another very powerful activation. I still need to edit it because I have to take it out some private conversation. It's helping people to upgrade your ego, because we have so many different lifetimes, and in different lifetime we have kind of ego in that life playing certain role. And the ego is we can say it can be the dark side of the shadow side. We can say the shadow side. So that's the activation, is actually helping the ego moving to the light. It's actually helping this lifetime. You can transfer your other lifetime, the ego, the shadow side, to the light side. So the whole being of you, because we're multidimensional being, is helping the whole being of you upgrade, uplift you in that sense. So I hope this understanding you help you to understand better. Right. So without we can have a lot more people join us. So I recently, 2 weeks ago, I also put down I'm talking about something else. So I put up a post on my website. I offer some free energy reading. I'll read with my intuition, and I will let you know what I get, at that moment. I will connect, and whatever the message I get from my intuition or whatever the source coming to me, and I'll write it down to you. So I will send the link, attach the link to the description section, so you can check it out. And I don't know if any of you who's listening have any questions. So if you can give me some feedback, like what sort of topics or what kind of activation you're interested, we can accommodate, in our future energy work. Because it's like my passion, and I want to help, because everyone, like myself, also in this journey, because we all in this ascension process, because some people they move faster, and some people they still need some tools to help them to go on the right path, because at this time sometimes people can't really tell what's true or what's not true. So from all the experience, I've been experienced so many traps, so more or less I can sort of offering more, you know, the you know, when you have more, you learn from all these mistakes, and then, you know, that's how you learn our lessons, right? Yeah, so that's why sharing all this experience, and based on the experience I have in the past, and based on, you know, because we now have Nikola Tesla, it's actually, it's conscious, high consciousness. It's not really the Nikola Tesla, but of course the higher consciousness will be knowing what Nikola Tesla was doing when he was incarnate on Earth. But the energy we connect with a Nikola Tesla team is actually the super conscious, the higher self, the future self of Nikola Tesla. Is in different cosmos. Because we all need to have an anchor. And the good news is we, the planetary, the human, collective humanity, the collective consciousness of humanity already being upgraded, like a connection is there back to the connection with the source. Because with so many incarnations, you know, sometimes the soul can get lost and they really don't know where they are. So I think this in one of the recording you can download. It's called Source Order and Source Work. The energy work on the website. You can check it out. This is the first time we have the source come to us, and since then we are more intact with the source energy, you know. And sometimes we have to embody as a source to do some energy work. It's like anyone can do this, right? It's getting to have more people involved in this work, but there are some foundation need to build up, and that's why we offer every week, every month we offer the portal meditation. So it'll be on our website, and I'll check out the link as well. Hope to invite everyone to join us, and through the Zoom call we can, you know, interact with everyone, and we really hope to form is kind of the community, you know, close. We can talk to each other, we can share. It's not like here, it's more like a one way. So hopefully we can have two-way interaction, face to face, through the conference call. Just hope everyone, you know, in this special time, you can still take care of yourself, and, you know, we are all in this, you know. As a lot of people say, we're in this together, and yeah, this is we're building this foundation for this year, because in the next 3 years there will be like a quantum leap. Our energy level will be flying up. So so this year, you know, we're all in the right direction. So okay, so if no any other questions, thank you for your support to my Facebook and to my YouTube channel. So I hope I'll upload this video, and if you can share around and like and share, will much appreciate. And also subscribe my channel, I really much appreciate that. So thank you for support again, and I hope to connect with you in my next video. So bye for now.